Hello, this is Anne-Marie Jillian Wetzel. I am a Close to My Heart consultant, and today I am going to share this take and make with you. So the key elements to this project is that we're going to make the most of all of this paper, and what you see on the inside is primarily used using 3 6x6 designer sheets of paper. So let's get started. Your kit for your take and make, if you're doing a take and make with me, will include 2 pieces of the mocha cardstock, 2 pieces of the white daisy, and then you will have the 3 6x6 sheets. Now today what I'm using here for the 6x6 sheets is the Good Life paper, and this is double-sided paper. So you can see we're going to use both sides of those along with the irresistible cardstock, and we're going to color this irresistible cardstock to join it with the papers. That's what's so fun about this paper. You can make it and color it your own, and we have tons of designs of this. And then one extra piece, and this is primarily going to be used for the matting. So let's get started. First, we're going to get our base pages ready. So the base pages, I'm going to take my paper trimmer here. Hopefully you guys can see that well. And I am going to cut in from the inch. So I'm going to the left side of my paper trimmer, and I'm going to line this up at the inch mark. So from down here, hopefully you can see that from down here, I'm going to move it up to the inch mark up here and cut. And what we're doing is we're going to cut the center out because the center we'll need for our matting. So, and that's what you'll need to do for your cardstock or for this project. Again, so I'm going to go here. Again, I'm going to go from the 1 inch and meet it down here. Just want to make sure that I am at the 1 inch. Yep. And then again, we're going to turn it. And again, I'm going to start from here, go up. And even if you go over a little bit, it's going to be okay because we're only going to cut the white daisy with a 1/2 inch for matting purposes. So again, I'm starting here. And our center, voila, fell out. Okay, so I'm going to do that again for the other. I'll speed it up personally. 1 to 1. 1 to 1. All right, so we have those center pieces, and like I said, they are going to be used for matting purposes. So we have part of our base here, and again, I'm going to take that white daisy, and I am just going to trim these off by 1/2 inch. And I just need to do that on 2 sides. And this will make it a 10-inch square. I mean 11.5-inch square, sorry about that. This is the 10-inch. All right, so all right, so that cutting is done. So now, before we get on to these other pieces, and cut these down, I want to color this first. I'm going to just start this, but I do have another piece here that's already finished, so we don't spend that much time watching me color. For this project here, this color, I am using Harbor on here. So I'm going to take my Harbor blending brush. Now you could use any other color that you feel. If you don't have Harbor, you could use another color. Many blues go with this paper. All right, so to color the Irresistible, this is a an embossed resist paper. So you'll see how it's resisting. Now, this is really wet because I just re-inked it. So what I'm going to show you, though, to keep it resist, take my paper towel, and I am just rubbing it. So as you rub it, you can see that the white will pop through. And again, this will happen when you have darker colors or if it's a really, really wet, juicy ink pad. So just again, take that paper towel and clear it off. So I'll show you one more. Again, you can see how it's not clearing up, but again, it doesn't happen all the time. But again, like I said, I just recently re-inked my Harbor. All right, so that's it. So like I said, promise you you're not gonna have to watch me color all of that, but that is what you would need to do. So I'm gonna set this aside, put my ink pad away here, and now let's finish cutting out the rest of the papers that we'll need. I'm gonna remove. So like I said, we have 6 by 6 squares here. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I am going to take this 6 by 6 and we are just going to cut that in half by point to point. So I'm going to line up my arrows here, and hopefully you should be able to do this with any paper trimmer, arrow to arrow, and I'm going to cut that in half. All right, so this will be for the right side. This is going to be this piece of paper here. Okay, but we need to have the smaller ones. So I'm going to take my other one, and I'm just going to line that up here and make 2 more triangles. And I just want to make sure, bring this down, line this up straight, using my lines on my and making sure that that point is centered. And just go down. Now we have 2 more. So that will end up being on the left side. So now for this paper and for our Irresistible cardstock here, I'm going to take this and I'm doing it at 1 1/4. So here's my 1 inch, here's the 1 1/4, right? And I'm going to line it up at 1 1/4. So where is my, you know what, I'm going to turn this around. Hopefully you guys can see that, but I want to start. All right, so here is my 11, and I am going to, why am I having trouble here? You know why I'm having trouble? Is because I don't have my glasses on, and I should be wearing my glasses to see these numbers. All right, so we're going to measure it from 1 1/4 in. So here's the 1 1/4 right there. I'm going to bring that down, and then I'm going to do the same. Line this up with where I cut it here and bring that up. We have that, and this is going to end up framing around our, so we're not wasting this paper. All right, so let's do that again. Here, 1 1/4. Hopefully my head is not in your way. All right, 1 1/4. Now this is the hardest part because this paper is striped. Maybe I should turn it over. Nope, that's not gonna really help either, but I can actually see it now. A little bit better. And up to my 1 1/4. There we go. So that are the pieces that we are going to use to assemble. So let's start assembling. As I said, we're still going to have some paper trimming to do, but we're going to mat this here. So basically I'm going to just take my adhesive right along the edge and get our base started. Again, feel free to speed up, stop, pause it. The other thing that I want you to know, that from the embellishing standpoint, other than I did give you a title, make this your own. Create, design, improve, if you want to say improve. Make that your own. So again, we're going to mirror this page. We're going to start getting this page together. Oh, I need my bigger. And you know what I do need? If you have a mat that has the measurements on it, this will be so helpful because it'll help you line up to make this even. So I am doing this and I'm doing it on the white at 1 3/4 and centering it. So that point to this point should be 1 3/4. So I'm just going to again line this up. And I am just going to put a little bit of tape down here, kind of help it from not moving on me. All right. And butt that up right to the edge. Then I'm going to take the other two that we've just done. Now, you can see this is a little bit of a different color, and like I said, you can use other colors. This one I colored in Seabrook. So both colors look really fabulous. Glacier would probably look nice. If you want something more tropical, Lagoon would be a good color also. So I just butted that up against there, and then butted this up against here. And now I'm going to grab, I'm going to set this aside. We need to do the photo placemat. So the brown extra cardstock that we had from the center, right? We're just going to cut this to be, it's a 4x6 photo. So it's going to be 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Doing the 4 1/4 first and the 6 1/4. Set that aside. We're going to use that for the next page. And I don't have my photo placement, but you should have photo placements in your package. And just lining that up to be about 1/2 inch. There. So again, when using your cardstock, Close and Hearts cardstock is a two-toned. So you'll want to choose what color and try to be consistent with that. I am choosing the darker side. I'm going to move that down a little bit. All right, so there we have. How easy is that? Your left page or your right page is done now. I'm going to set this aside. I'll bring that back in. But let's get our other page together. And we'll start working on the left side. I am just doing this. It should be 1/4 inch all the way around. And again. Just putting that so, all right. So now we still have these pieces to do. Let's bring in the other page and show it to you again. So what we're going to do here is you should have a 6 by 12 piece of paper. So this is going to have to get trimmed down. Let me move this off to the side. So these pieces are 4 3/4. So I want this to be probably 4 7/8. So both of these edges are a little bit roughed up from bad blade. So I'm just going to trim that off. For me, yours should not be that way. But I'm going to do 4 7/8. And then we're going to mat these two together. Now, because of your spacing and stuff, I'm going to suggest, and I don't really want to give you measurements, I am going to suggest that you line it up, and it's really, again, depending on the spacing that you put on it. So, I want this paper down first. And the reason I'm doing this paper, because this is the same order that it's in on the other page. So, like I said, I'm going to line this up. Just give this a little bit of a white edge. And that's because we're going to put a brown border around this. We're double matting this. All right, and now, like I said, I'm going to take this and trim off to make it 1/8 inch. And there we have that, okay? Now, what we need to do is put our corners on. So, as you remember, if you bring this back in, we're going to put those in place. Oh, you know what? Let's mat this first. Let's mat this. And it's really neat because this really mats up. So I'm going to adhere this and then trim this. And again, I'm going to do it 1/8 of an inch, just doing it slightly. So let's get this matted. All right, and again, get my paper trimmer and just do some trimming here. There we go. I'm gonna try, probably shouldn't. Good. All right, so just trim that off a little bit. And like I said, let's measure up our corners here. So we want one on the top. And one on the bottom. And then we will bring this down a little bit further. And what I'm just going to do is, I'm just eyeballing it right now, and I want to put a pencil mark where I want this placed. All right, I'm gonna put some adhesive there. And I am measuring it to be about 1/2 inch top and side. And I want to do the same here for the bottom. And again, I have that mark, so I know where I want that. And I'm not worried that if it's coming out here, because we have to adhere all of this down to the base. And again, I am just lining it up to be about 1/2 inch. All right. And there we go. So we're almost done. So let's get this down. All right, so we have that. Now what we need to do is for our 3x3 photos, and this is actually a great layout to use your flip-flops too, if you wanted to add. So again, I'm going to cut this is going to be at 3 1/4. And for this, I'm going to just take some white daisy cardstock and trim that down to 3x3 just for a photo, for my photo placements, since I don't have them right here. So we need 3 of those. And you might not be seeing this, but I'm just, like I said, I'm just cutting White Daisy as my photo placement holders. All right, so let's bring this back over here. And I'm just, like I said, lining these up, and then I will trim off the excess from this piece of paper. And again, I don't want to give you measurements because you may want to have a little bit more spacing, but I'm doing, I'd have to say it's less than 1/4 of an inch on mine. I'm going to bring this down because I have it too high up. I should be using my Versamat to help with my measurements, but all right, so not too much excess here that I'm going to trim off, and then those will go right inside there. And again, you have very little on each side of this. And now all we have left is the title to do. So I love the white around this. Again, you can add your embellishments however you would like. I chose the Good Life because that's the name of this paper pack, was the Good Life. So I was like, oh, that's a good title for it. All right, so I cut these out on the Cricut. Again, these are in Harbor ink. And I just lined them up on that. Let me get my glue here. Just setting that on there. And we are done. So I hope you liked this take and make. And again, super easy to be able to apply to other layouts. The other thing is, instead of doing this vertically or horizontally, you could have done it vertically, up and down. So your white space would be on each side. Definitely however you would like to embellish. And if you want to add more pictures, you can do that too. And you should have a little dot in there too for the top of the eye. And there we have it. So let's bring both layouts that we just created back together. And you know, this is actually versatile too. You could choose either way. You could choose your layout to be this way, or you could choose your layout to be this way. Whatever you want for the left and the right. This is how I was choosing to do it because my title is there. But again, I hope you enjoyed this take and make, and have a great day. Bye.